Yes, people, welcome back to the channel. KG is back, and it is almost time for football, real football, to be back. And even though that means championship football for us, it's club football, which is the most important thing. Before we get to that, though, we do have another rumor to discuss with Leeds United looking to recruit in January, which is music to my ears because we do need strengthening in certain areas. And this is an area that is a concern, not a concern, but it would be nice to lock up this position early in January to set us up for the rest of the season to ensure a smooth transition to promotion to the Premier League, right? But before I get into that, like the video, subscribe to the channel, of course, drop your thoughts and comments below. Thank you to Mr. P for the super thanks on the last video. Much appreciated, Mr. P. And thank you to all existing members. Big up to all of you. Thank you for that support. And listen, if you want to become a member, the link is in the description. Now, the player in question is Man City midfielder James McAtee. And according to several reports, Leeds United are attempting or are going to attempt to bring James McAtee to the club in January. Now, I have thoughts on this one in terms of the player himself. As you guys know, I watch Sheffield United a lot in this house. So I've seen him at up close at this level, especially in the championship. And I do have thoughts on the player. I also have thoughts on where I think if everyone has a bid accepted, where he may end up, because we're not the only ones that are going to be interested in. According to reports, it's going to be other championship clubs and West Ham in the Premier League, which is an interesting link within itself. And I got to think if West Ham are interested, there will be other Premier League teams interested. And of course, it all depends on what the player wants to do. But James McAtee himself is, and I'll speak for him at championship level, because when he was at this level with Sheffield United, when they went up the last time, him and Jai and Berg had this triangle that was just too much for the rest of the league. It was ridiculous. It was almost like a cheat code, which was annoying as we were struggling in the Prem. But Njai, Berg, and McAtee were just this beautiful triangle that got Sheffield United promoted. Big reason why they got promoted. And he was instrumental in there. Can play as an 8, plays as a 10, is capable of unlocking a door, but also has an eye for goal, does love to get a shot off, it's not always the smoothest shot, but look, he is still young in his trade, still learning. But what I will say at this level, especially championship, brilliant player, brilliant player. He's one of those that can unlock the door, especially as you know, we face a lot of low blocks. He has the capabilities to do so. What I will say, though, in the Premier League, much like a lot of the Sheffield United team, it didn't go too well from him. And like I've said before on this channel about other Sheffield United players, kind of looked like he not given up towards the end of the season, but it was like, what can I do here? You know what I mean? What else can I do here? He did end up with like 3 goals in the Premier League, which isn't a bad return in that team. I think we have to remember the magnitude of how bad Sheffield United sucked last season. So, you know, it showed, but you could see that the Premier League level is still a little bit not there for him at this point in time. So I do think a championship move would suit him best. And of course, if Leeds United go in for him, and especially if we are in the top 2, which again is the January window, I've broken this down before. You get 2 windows in the January window when you're a football club in the championship. If you're cemented in the top 2, you're good to go. You can probably get players that wouldn't drop down, but would be willing to take that step down because you're in the top 2 and you're playing great football, or you're winning matches, and you know you look like you're on the trajectory to the Premier League. But if you're in the playoff spots, that's where it looks sticky. That's where it can be sticky. It's like, I'm not sure if I want to go into a team that's battling for playoffs. And again, this isn't just from me talking; these are from players I speak to. And a lot of them do not want to drop in the championship, and a lot of them don't. Even though you think this is Leeds United, it's a big club, of course you want to play for Leeds. No, it's just it's the championship. Players aren't interested, especially if they're at Premier League level teams. They don't want to drop down into this division. It's just the way it is, people. For both a personal and business sense, I spoke to a player. One, his boot deal was coming towards the end of the end of its completion at the end of the season. He said, I didn't want to risk dropping into the championship in case it messed with my boot sponsorship money. All things that we don't consider as fans, but they consider it from a business point of view. But listen, with James McAtee, if he is willing to drop down into division and Leeds make a good offer, and obviously he would get playing time here, I think it would be a great move for Leeds United to do so. He's not the only one that I would think of, and I'm not going to go into other names on this video. I can wait until we do go on a live stream for that. But he would be a very, very good option at this level to just think about that. A Nonto, Dan James, McAtee, Peru, Joseph, just that mix of players. It would be good to see. The problem that we have, and for me, this is the kicker. If Sheffield United come back in for him, I do think he chooses Sheffield United. Now, if you're talking just on a pure football level and expectations, you can imagine Pep saying, I would like you to go to Leeds. They have a big expectation on the club. Oh, I love it. I love it. I can imagine Pep would probably prefer him to go to Leeds just from the expectations, the weight of the football club that would probably help him transition to Man City. But he has had two spells at Sheffield United, and that would make me think if Sheffield United also had a bid accepted and they're also in the top two, which I expect them to be, I think he does go there. Now, I would love to be wrong if we were both in the mix and Danny Farker thinks that this is the guy to unlock the door for us. Please go and get him. I would absolutely love to be wrong about that. And that the weight of the club, the size of the club overtakes everything. Never mind what he did before at Sheffield United and he comes here. I just think that if he has the option to drop down into the championship, he'll go to somewhere where he's been twice. And I don't forget this. When he did sign for Sheffield United last season on loan, when they're in the Premier League, he did say the reason why I've come back here is obviously to play football, but also that emotional connection I've got with the club. And that does play a hand in it sometimes. Obviously, if we can offer a little bit more in terms of a loan fee or bonus upon promotion, then maybe it swings in our favor. But I do just get the feeling that with McAtee, if Sheffield United put an offer, Leeds United put an offer, I think he may go there. Even though the playing staff have changed a bit, there are still some familiar faces around the club. He obviously worked with Chris Wilder last season, and that makes me think he'd go there. But again, I would love to be wrong if we're both in the race. But again, that's us talking about Sheffield United Leeds. If he gets Premier League loan options at clubs that are at decent levels, even like a Crystal Palace or one of those kind of teams, maybe even a Bournemouth, then obviously Premier League football supplants anything that you have in the Championship, and there's no argument there, is there? But I just feel that maybe Leeds, if they can get it done early, get in there, get talking to him, and say, "Listen, this is what we want to do. This is what we're hoping to achieve. Blah blah blah. This is what you'll get." Then maybe you can do it. But if Chris Wilder gets his arm around him, don't go to the Muppets at Leeds. Come back home here. You can probably see him going there. But listen, I would love to get your thoughts on James McAtee. Do you think that he would be an answer, a solution for us at the 10? I also do think that there's other ways that we can get, even Tanaka more advanced if we get in another central midfielder. But I understand the need that people want for an out and out 10. I absolutely do get it. So is McAtee your man, or do you have other options in mind? And the thing is, as well, I know that Buendia said that he did not want to drop down into the Championship. We heard that from Angus Kinnear. I don't see that situation changing, even though he's not getting much game time at Aston Villa. Even though there's only 6 months left, the only way I see like a Buendia dropping down is if he comes here, we're in the top two, and that obviously I think Villa would say, look, if you want him, you're going to have to sign him permanently upon promotion. And I think that's the only way that you get a Buendia type. I think we're ambitious enough to go and try and get him. And with this situation of playing football not being that regular, but I think that if we're in the top two and Villa say upon promotion you sign him permanently and then he's in the Premier League, I think maybe he would go for that. But I do think that just the drop down to the division he wouldn't fancy. Plus, I do think Buendia would have options around Europe too. But listen, people, that is the video today. Please give me your thoughts on the sign of McAtee, potential sign of McAtee. Do you think he'd come here over Sheffield United? Give me your reasons why. And listen, people, I will see you in the next one, which should be alive tomorrow after we listen to Daniel Farker's press conference. So glad. I'll be glad to hear those again. I can't believe I'm even saying that right now. But listen, people, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.